All right, this is really exciting. We've had a call from our good friends at Barbecues Galore and they reckon they've got something in store that they want us to do an unboxing and a bit of a product test on. Now, we've got no idea what it is, but we've grabbed some Red Smoke merch for the team. We're going to head inside and find out what they've got.
Hey Dave, how you going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
What do you got for us?
My absolute favourite, the Traeger Ironwood 885. It's amazing. It's got Wi-Fi, pellet fed, comes with your probes. It's got your back downdraft for your smoke, so you don't need the chimney stack like on some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Hook it into your phone. You can do everything but turn it on with your phone.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Stay in bed for your overnight briskets.
I've never had really pellet smokers before, so this is new.
This is a good way to start.
Good way to start. This is better than a good way to start.
Good way to start.
So what makes this one your favourite out of all the Traegers?
I like the size.
Yeah.
Because I think that, you know, you can get some of the same features in some of the smaller ones, which is great if you're short on space. But if you're like me and extremely time poor, you kind of want to get bang for your buck when you're smoking.
Yeah.
So in here you've got boatloads of room.
Yeah.
If you need to harness heat, you can do it in a Traeger.
Awesome. I reckon this is a good idea. From what I can tell, if you take this out, so when you finish your cook, you can clean your grill, but everything that drips down, you just pull that out and throw it away, and then you've got another one ready to go. It's a pretty good idea. Thanks. Thanks, Rosie. Appreciate it.
Hey, wait a second. No. I've got one in a box for you. You've got to build it, mate.
Build it?
Build it.
Ready to go.
Nope. Take it back.
All right. All right, so we've got the Traeger home, safe and sound. Now this thing's pretty heavy and it doesn't say on the box how heavy it is. It just says that it's more than 22 kilos, but I can tell you it's easily more than 100 kilos. So on top of the box, it says 2 people required for assembly, and I'm gonna tell you, you need 2 people just to get it out of the car and into the house. But we've got it this far, so let's crack open this lid and see what we're dealing with. Let's see what we're dealing with. Packaging. It's actually got cup holders marked on it. This is the first box. Let's put that over here. So it doesn't look like there's a whole lot to it to begin with. So it looks like the hopper's already connected. All right, let's come around the front here and have a look at what's packed inside it, because that must be where the rest of the stuff is. Ah, there we go. So all the fun stuff's inside. All right, so I'll pull some of this gear out. Just set it all aside for now. All right, so that didn't take very long. We've already got it unboxed. I've pulled everything out of the packaging and I've laid it out here on the floor. Now, my initial impressions are it's a lot less work than some of the other smokers we've had to put together in the past. I mean, it comes almost assembled. So really, we've just got our legs and they've already got the wheels attached. We've got our grates. We've got our handle to go onto the front. We've got a side table, and then we've got our grease traps and our bucket. But it all says to start with this box. I mean, it literally says start here on the box. So that's exactly where we're going to begin. I'm assuming that's where the instructions are. So let's have a quick read of those, and then we'll crack into putting it together. All right, ripping the lid off this box, and yep, this is exactly what we're looking for. So we've got a couple of different power cables here to suit your country. So we've ripped those out of the way, and it looks like this is the instruction manual we've been chasing. So we've got our owner's manual, instructions, looks like our warranty card. We've also got this little toolkit in here full of nuts and bolts, a couple of bits and pieces to help put it together, and the last bit is a couple of plates in the bottom of the box, which, judging by the picture on the box, is designed to go between the supports on the legs. All right, so here in the instructions, you've got 2 booklets. You've got your owner's manual, so we'll come back and read that one a little bit later, but the one we want here is the Ironwood assembly guide. So that's what we're going to work off now. So let's have a quick read of that and see how we put this thing together. When I say quick read, I mean a quick read. There's literally 3 pages of instructions to put this together, and that's a great sign already, because if you've seen some of the other build videos on this channel, you know some of the other barbecues we've put together have been like 27 pages of instructions. So I'm excited already. I particularly like the optional equipment that they include in the instructions. However, we're going to save that till the end, and we'll enjoy those when we're actually grilling. Now, step 1 is the obvious step, and that's attaching the legs. So let's roll this thing over and get cracking. Step 1's pretty straightforward. First, we're going to grab our numbers, match those up, slide them into the hole, make sure those 2 little holes are clear. Then we're going to grab an A bolt, a B washer, a B washer, a C washer, and the D nut. And so we're just going to put these in finger tight, and then we'll tighten them all up once we stand it up. Now we'll just go around, repeat the other 3. Okay, so once you get your 4 legs on, we're almost there. We're just going to use these 2 little plates that we found on the bottom of that box. Now make sure the Traeger spine reads the right way up. There's just 4 little bolts. We're just going to screw those in using the little screwdriver provided. All right, so this particular Traeger is called the Ironwood 885. Does anyone know what the 885 actually stands for? If you think you know, throw your answer in the comments below. All right, there you go. So we're back on our feet. So it hasn't taken really long at all. We've attached those 4 legs and the 2 end plates. I've just been around and tightened those up now. So the next steps are involving attaching the handle and the side shelf, and then we're almost ready to grill. All right, so this little side table, super simple. Just pop it on here. It's just 4 little screws in the bottom lining up with the holes, and just nip it up with the screwdriver. And while we're here, we'll just put our little fat bucket on the end as well. You can see here how simple it is to put this handle on. It's the last 2 remaining bolts in the packet, the 2 square washers. You just nip it up with a screwdriver. So once you've done that, you want to put this bottom drip tray in. Now, I left this covered in plastic because it does have like an oil on it, a protective oil, which is a bit messy. So leave that till last before you take the plastic off it. Once you've done that, you just grab one of these disposable Alfor sheets, and that just sits on top. Put our grill in, followed by the top grill. And lastly, don't forget to move this little yellow cover, which is protecting the internal probe. All right, there you go. We're done. Now, that was really, really simple and didn't take very long at all. Now, we've finished with the assembly guide, and we've now moved over to the owner's manual. Now, the owner's manual tells us that we need to give this a season, which is pretty standard with all barbecues. So we're going to wheel this outside. We're going to run some power because I've never had to do that for any of my barbecues before. We'll fill up the hopper with some pellets, and we'll go through the seasoning process. And then we'll come back in. I'll just talk about some of the cool features I've already noticed about this Traeger. All right, now here's the exciting bit. The hard work's done. Let's fire this up. So I'm going to push the button here. We get a little Traeger splash screen. Now, I didn't follow the instructions on the screen. I followed the instructions from the manual. So the first thing I did was go to the menu and slide down to auger, and you just click the button in to press enter. So we're going to prime the auger here. Now you can see here this takes about 2.5 minutes. It makes some funny sounds, but what you'll find is pellets starting to fall into the bottom of the smoker chamber. Now once that's all done, it will be priming complete, and the instructions suggest turning this to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now this came already in Celsius mode, so that's 175 degrees Celsius. And we press the ignite button to fire it up. Now, what I did notice here was this did take a little while to fire up, and it made several attempts at it. So you'll hear a lot of sounds where it starts and then sounds like it stops and repeats itself. But that's okay. That's all part of the normal process. It'll eventually fire up. And we're going to run it at this temperature for around about 20 minutes. So it's definitely a bit smokier than I expected when it first fired up. And I don't know if that does that every time you turn the Traeger on or just when it primes the auger. So if you own a Traeger, you know the answers to that question. Let us know in the comments below. But it didn't take long for the smoke to clear, and it looked like we were ready to move on to the very next step. Okay, so we let that run for 20 minutes once it reached the temperature of 175 degrees. But now is step 2, which is turning the temperature up. So for step 2, you need to go to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is around 260 degrees Celsius, and we're going to run it here at this temperature for about 30 minutes. Okay, so while that's doing its 30-minute cook-off, it's time to load the Traeger app. Now, the app you're looking for in the App Store is this one right here. So we're just going to open that. And because this is the first time using the Traeger, we're going to hit the sign up button. So that's going to take us to this nice little splash screen welcoming us to Traeger. And the first thing we need to do is register. So we're going to pop our first and last name in, and we're going to add our email address in. And of course, we're going to create a password for security reasons. Now, all we've done here is registered an account with Traeger. We haven't actually set up the smoker just yet. Now, once we created our account, we pretty much got this notification straight away saying that Traeger would like to find and connect to devices on the local network. So we've just clicked OK there. Next, it asks us to select the icon that matched the front of our grill, which for us was the middle icon. Next was the data and privacy statement, so we just agreed to that. Okay, so now we're up to the step where we want to connect our smoker to our home Wi-Fi network. So we're just going to click next here. Now, the next part was talking about turning off a private relay, so we don't have anything like that turned on, so we've just clicked next. Now it's asking me to connect to my home Wi-Fi network, and that's located there. And now it's asking me to scan the QR code, which is on the inside of the lid of the hopper. We're going to enter our Wi-Fi password, hit next, and the Traeger is going to join our Wi-Fi network. So it takes a little while, but once it's verified the connection to the Traeger, it's going to tell us that the grill is now connected to our home Wi-Fi network. It's going to check for any updates, any software or firmware updates to the unit. And if there are any, it's going to download those files. If there are any files to download, it's going to give itself a little bit of a reboot. It'll finalize the connection, and we're pretty much ready to go. Now, the next bit's a bit of fun, and you get to give your grill a nickname. I wasn't feeling overly creative, so I went with the obvious of the Red Smoke Traeger for now, but you can come back and change this later. And that's really the final step. So give it 60 seconds. We get the success window comes up and tells us that we're all good to go. Now, you can see here it just allows us to send notifications, so you definitely want that turned on. And this is what the final home screen looks like once you connect it to your grill. Well, I guess for someone who's always been more of a stick burner or a charcoal type cooker, I must say I am very, very impressed. Now, I've only ever owned one small pellet grill in the past, and I didn't use it a whole lot just because I'm used to using my offset or my kettles. Now, I may have even get a few mates in the past, a little bit of stick about only ever cooking on pellet grills, but I can quickly see the appeal of them. So here's just a couple of quick points that have impressed me already with the Traeger Ironwood 885. Now, first up is the build time. Now, it definitely requires two people to make the job easy, but it really is done in probably under an hour. The next thing that impressed me was the build quality. Now, as I said, this box was heavy, and that's because it's really solid unit, and it definitely has nothing cheap about it inside. Now, all the parts are very thick, and they're very heavy duty, which I think is going to make it last a long, long time. The third thing I liked was the adjustable grills. Now, the bottom grill has two height positions, the lower for searing and the higher for smoking, so we look forward to putting them through their paces throughout some test cooks. Four was these hanging hooks. Now, it has these hooks at the back of the unit, and I have to admit I didn't actually know what they were for, and I just assumed they were for running your power lead across, and they probably could be used for that. But a quick check in the manual shows us this is a place to store the top shelf when it's not in use, so that's a really nice attention to detail there. And the last thing I liked about it was obviously the app. Now, we'll cover that off more in detail in the review video, but it's super handy, and it really is quite a luxury when you're smoking, something I'm not used to. Now, as I said, this wasn't a full review video, but one last cool point I just want to throw in there is don't ruin the lid to the box when you take it off, and definitely don't throw it away, because it makes this very cool cubby house or Traeger cabin for your kids, or maybe even a cool dog house for your smoking buddy. Maybe you could tell your wife that you've gone out to buy a kid's cubby house and it comes with a free smoker. I don't know, it might work. And to answer your question from earlier, it's called the Ironwood 885 as it has 885 inches of cooking space. There you go. So I'll check the comments below to see who got that one right. Now, if you like the vid, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you ring that little bell so you're notified of the follow-up review video following this one. So also, while you're there, check out some of the other vids on our channel. We've got some other great barbecue vids covering off barbecue competition, gear reviews, and recipes. And lastly, big thanks to Barbecues Galore for lending us the Traeger. It allows us to make content like this for you. So until the next video, we'll catch you then.